Thanks for staying with us. So this last segment, we're going to be discussing Trump and his economic policies. So in recent weeks, the world witnessed quite a bit of tariffs imposed by the United States of America on countries around the world. Nigeria was not left out in these series of trade sanctions, though it has been put on hold for 90 days. However, China is heavily burdened. Today on the show, we want to critically look at the trade war between the US and China, most especially its implication on Nigeria, and obviously the common man on the street. We want to look at the impact on our economy, most especially inflation, cost of goods, purchasing power, and overall standard of living. Also, what Nigerians can, ahead of its own 3 months grace to cushion the effect, because he has said he has put the whole tariff on hold. Remember, if you recall, Trump had threatened an increase in tariff of goods across all various from different countries. Joining us on the show is the chief economist at the SPM Professionals. He's a fellow international management consultant, board in the US and also in the United States, right? Welcome with us, Dr. Paul Alaje, to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Sir. So you can call and join the conversation on 020-163-52013, 090-241-63440. You can also send us messages on X, and also YouTube. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts. So, Mr. Paul, there's a lot of confusion out there. I mean, the fact initially was fear of how much exactly. Then we heard 14%. And then now it's been put on hold. And there's been the last few weeks, we've been going back and forth. I think the Minister of Trade was worried about how it's going to affect the revenue we're getting from imports from the US. So there's been a lot of fear. Now it's put on hold. It's a bit of a relief. How does it happen? So first of all, help us understand. Let's start from the beginning. Yeah. Why do you think Trump wanted or he proposed to increase the tariffs from various countries across board?
Okay, thank you so much. Well, economists, for those of us that speak in public spaces, it's important for us to let people understand the conversation. When we talk about tariffs, we are talking of a kind of charge or tax that is collected by government. Now, when it comes to import tariffs, you are talking of border taxes that countries that is importing collect from the countries or the source of origin or country that is exporting to them on their product. For Donald Trump, it's not new. In 2019, I remember I spoke with your colleague, Mr. Tolu, on his business show by 2 p.m. in 2019, when President Trump got to office and he started introducing tariffs. At that time, Nigeria did not get any piece of pie in the cake of tariffs. But we knew that China got, we knew Mexico got, and a few other countries. And we mentioned that if the world is swayed with any major externalities, it might bring down the entire world in a recession. We didn't know, neither did I see or Mr. Tolu saw, that COVID would come. Just months after. In 2020, COVID came, and the entire world went down. Why? Because the global trade atmosphere was already weak. These are two powerful nations when it comes to production and security. President Trump returned in 2025, and we're not surprised. I see 2025 or 2024. We're not surprised that these policies were coming again because of one thing. That is the question you asked. What is the goal of President Trump? To make America's economy great again. Whether that is comprehensive or myopic, well, maybe we'll get to it. He believes that the trade deficit of America to China, as of that time, was over $500 billion. He also believes that America produce is getting a lot of taxes or tariffs from abroad, while America remain a Santa Claus in their own countries. When it comes home, they are not charging as such. So if you looked at the numbers, and remember that he has a bit of touch in economics too, that's President Trump. And he feels that a country that has excesses perhaps might be classified as country that have dominance. So the goal of President Trump is for the American economy to have dominance. Average American actually support him. It's those who sees beyond the line that says, hey, President Trump, we are not just a country out there. I'm tempted to mention the name of a country. We're not just that kind of country. This is America. The global economy partly relies on us. So we cannot, as a nation, say we want to increase tariffs simply because we want to start having trade excesses. But you say, there is the balance. President Trump only talked about goods. He did not talk about service. He did not talk about education, people who go in abroad. He did not talk about those taxes that they are providing to the rest of the world, and the rest of the world is not even taxing as such. So it limits it to good. But in economics, when you talk about economic activity, it's not just selling of phones, we're also talking of selling of software that drives the phone. So the world has reduced the argument to goods. Meanwhile, in economics, we talk about goods and services. So the services is where President Trump and his team seems to be very quiet. But of course, the world is consulting. There are different bodies around the world that study economics that is also expanding the conversation and also telling America the implication. Because when you deny your population, don't think American economy or American citizens have endless amount of money. If the tariff is too high, then it becomes difficult for them to buy. But that is partly the goal, such that American factory will start producing. So when they start producing, the rest of the world will now come back and depend on them. But unfortunately, you cannot eat your cake and have it. The goal at Benicio was that if the world continue to depend on America, then America will now start producing like China. But something was a foundation. China has the cheapest labor at a time. If you ask me the country that has that kind of cheap labor now, is Nigeria. I think that Nigerian authority from Ministry of Trade and Investment, Commissioners of Trade and Investment across our country, we start looking at what is happening. This is an opportunity we must not miss as a nation, because it provides us with that chance. And now that we know that we have the basis, the foundation, first is cheap labor. Two, Chinese government started building factory. From one point to the other. Thirdly, they set a goal. What was the goal? The GDP component of China, when it comes to manufacturing, must be 40%. I didn't say when it comes to production. Production is larger than manufacturing. When it comes to manufacturing, must be 40%. And Chinese government tried, evidently, to work towards that, such that they can expand in manufacturing. Is Nigeria not exporting? Is Africa not exporting? We are. But the question is, what are we exporting? We're exporting agro produce, we are exporting natural resources, which includes crude oil, by the way, without adding value. So because of those, our production is not even sufficient. Because when you export 1 barrel of crude and you want to import back as PMS, you want to import back as Jet A1, or you import, or you want to export, call it cocoa. So you want to export it back as whatever finished product. Where are the jobs? The jobs are in manufacturing centers. Where is the revenue? The revenue is where this manufactured. So you are priced, because check all of us are Africans, from Nigeria to Zimbabwe to Angola to we are Africans. And as Africans, we are blessed naturally with resources. But our ability to put our content, the content of our brain, to what is underneath our food is what seems not to be there. And I hope that in the coming period, we'll put all of this in place.
Okay, we hope so. My question is, why are we panicking as a nation based off of the policies that Trump is putting in place to strengthen their economy? How does it concern us so much that we're beginning to run helter-skelter and see how it's going to affect us? In what capacity will it affect us, knowing fully well that we're not really exporting as much? That would, that some of his policies now would affect our exportation. So why the panic for
in
Nigeria?
2022, Vladimir Putin woke up from any side of his bed and decided to go to war with Ukraine. Price of diesel in Nigeria jumped from 270 per liter to over 1,000. What was our role? No bomb exploded in Nigeria. No missile. Why? Because the world is like a web. We are interconnected. The Black Sea deal affected Nigeria. It affected virtually everybody in the world. So when two countries that are major production have concerns, those who buy from them. Imagine China is importing software from America that drives your iPhone, and the price of that software has significantly increased. And producer, we always push it to the final consumer. That is why the worst place to be is just to be the final consumer. As much as you are consuming, make sure you are producing, you are giving to the world, so that what you are taking, you are also producing, you are adding to the global economic ecosystem, which we need to do more now. So it certainly will affect us, because The price of, look at many students, I think pupils, I don't know if they're on holiday or they're in school now. They're on holiday, so parents will be buying school uniform. Where do you think those uniforms will come from? Where will they come from? You know, even in some schools in Lagos and Abuja, because I'm based in Abuja, so I hear school that says that, oh, don't worry, let your children come. The uniform is going to be, we're going to import them. From Britain, we import them. Now, when you do that, Nigeria imports nearly 80% of our school uniforms from India, from China, and from Britain, and from Bangladesh. Bangladesh, I joined the table. But the question is it the person that sews the matter or the person that manufactures textile? Lagos, Kaduna. In fact, Kaduna. Let me leave Lagos. We know Lagos is a great state. Now, Kaduna used to be the manufacturing hub, not of Nigeria, but of West Africa.
Wow.
Not of Nigeria.
Sad.
Today, it's a shadow. That center, those industries are shadow of themselves. Until we go back, if America coughs or Russia coughs or something happens in the Middle East, it will certainly affect us. And the code that we are not the one that cough, even if we are not close by, honestly, can affect us as a nation.
So in responding, you have answered all the questions that I was going to ask. But I'm going to say, you know, you sounded a bit optimistic when you said this will help us think about, you know, going forward, how to sort of arrange ourselves, you know, position ourselves. But I'm saying this is conversations we've had many times. In fact, in the papers too, today, they said Minister for Solid Minerals, Alaje, was also saying that this is like a blessing in disguise. Now we can strengthen trade within the African continent. But this is not today's conversation, not yesterday's. It's been going on forever, like since I was a child and I'm an adult. What has stopped us really from becoming the strong superpower, or, you know, forming a strong African trade that we're not affected so easily by the Western world and their policies?
Fantastic question. In fact, we have Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Nigeria is a signatory to that agreement. The question is, since we've signed years back, why has it not really impacted any African countries or materialized? It's simple. Companion of foods shall be destroyed. We are producing similar things. We are producing similar things. If it's not producing cocoa, you are producing shea butter. Check our TikTok. You know, check TikTok. What are the things African advertise, and what are the things Asian advertise on TikTok? What are those things? What are the things? Now, as lady, this I don't want to say this is a ladies' show, but I'm tempted to say, okay, it's a ladies' show. Check what ladies buy from nice weave on. Where is it made from? Nice eyeglasses.
Asia.
Nice wristwatches, nice clothes. See, if their name is Tokumbo, they might also be imported as a person, because in Africa, men impregnate their wives and export the wife and the child and brings back into Africa. Now, here is the challenge. Until we understand that the nature has done its part by blessing our soil with nice tubers of yam, oil and gas, and so on and so forth. Well, you see, we cannot outsource our brain. The content of our brain is what will help us as a continent, and most importantly as a nation, to help us get to that point where the rest of the world will now depend on us. Starting from those ones that we have comparative cost advantage over. We have crude, we need refinery to function. And I'm happy that successive government has been hammering on Dangote's refinery. With our local refineries, we need to do everything to make those refineries work, because there is no progress without energy. Energy can be broadly classified into two: electricity and source of automobile or factory running. So you can further bring them below all those. So here is it. Africa wants to depend on producing primary produce or primary products and hope that there is a future. It never worked anyway. You know, when you eat sandwich, you have bread, then you have what is in between the bread. We have sandwich our miracle. What is that miracle? Is manufacturing. In economics, that manufacturing, for you to be a great nation, such that some of these policies will not affect you badly, must be 40%. In Nigeria, service is what takes largest proportion, over 50. That's where you have insurance. They are good. They are doing good. Telecom, I'm not saying we should reduce them. I'm saying that we must come together. First, especially at state level. And I'm happy that we have local government autonomy.
We're exporting services. I'll come to you, we're exporting services right now because Nigerians, obviously, there's a lot of work that Nigerians have been when it comes to educational and exposure, where service delivery is one of the, I was seeing some data a few months ago where our services, the percentage of services we offer to the world has actually increased. Shouldn't that be part of some of the forex which you're expecting? Okay, so there's something called complexity index. You need to check MIT. Complexity index talk about the rigorosity, the mental contribution to that thing we're exporting, and that will affect our price. I don't know who has iPhone 15 or iPhone 16 or a flip phone. If you have iPhone 15, how much is it? I want to just demonstrate something to you, and this will help leaders across Africa, not just Nigeria. iPhone 15 may be about maybe $2,000. Now, $2,000, put it on one side. If you convert that to Naira, that's over 3 million Naira on one phone. How much is a barrel of crude now? A barrel of crude right now, let's be charitable. Let's say $70. We're charitable. Okay. Let's even say $80. Let's say $100. That there is boom. I mean, it's selling $100. Now, you need, for one iPhone, which is 2,000, you need 20 barrels. That means when you carry your phone, you are carrying 20 barrels on your hair. How many barrels are we producing as a nation? And only one company, how many are they producing? That's where the problem lies. Now, where companies are producing manufactured goods with a lot of knowledge that they've added to this produce. And that is why you see private sector in Africa, especially our country, must work. Just busted my bubble.
Must work. If it does not work, I am afraid we will keep trying. Our government will be sincere. They want the good of Nigeria. Oh, wait, who else will rule Nigeria? We've had President Obasanjo. People say he tried, he did not try. We've had President Yaradua. He tried, he did not try. We've had President Jonathan. He tried, he did not try. We have President Buhari. He tried, he did not try. We have President Tinubu. He tried. See, we will always complain. The real solution, the economic miracle of our country, lies in our ability to make the rest of the world hopelessly depend on us. Okay. If they don't hopelessly depend on us, I am sorry. We will hopelessly depend on them.
Okay, so now I get you. I agree with you, because Nigeria, we need to be proactive as fast as we can, because mostly when these external policies happen, it always affects us. And that's when we now start trying to get solutions and all of that. So now I need you to highlight the sectors of this economy that you think will drive and make this country a bit, successful in terms of, because of this tariff ban that has just happened. Okay,
thank you so much for the question. I will mention a few sectors, but at the end of the day, what happens is linkages. You have to link them together. No sector can be isolated in economy, because it's even a web. The global economy, the Nigerian economy must be interconnected. So the one that seems to be low-hanging fruit for us are the foods that we have. Our production. Yeah, we have, that's agriculture, even though we have challenges on our farms. And I've seen people say, oh, we have so much insecurity. I've been to different parts of the world. I have not seen one country without insecurity. I'm sorry. There is relative peace in some part, but here is it. We can decide to create farm hubs. From Ibadan to Lagos, I'm using that as example, or from Kaduna to Abuja. Ibadan to Lagos, I've sandwiched Ogun State in between. Abuja to Kaduna, I've sandwiched Niger State in between. Now you see bushes on both sides of the road. Desert. What desert? Not really desert, fertile land. Even in Niger, fertile land. What are we doing with that?
Nothing. They will say bandits will come and meet.
So that's the
see, government, government, state, local, federal government can create farm hubs with definite security presence. And this is not new policy. As a matter of fact, in 1957-58, the late sage Obafemi Awolowo did the same thing. And some of those settlements are still there till today. So it's what we can do. And we can give it any name. Two, manufacturing, no matter how light it might be. In 1952, 53 to 55, I doubt that if you see Chinese vehicle, it will irritate you. Chinese vehicle. Today, on Tom Milan Bridge is openly advertised, one of the best vehicles, even electric vehicles, EVs. from China.
Yeah.
It's advertised. Why? Because they kept trying. They made mistakes, kept trying. See, I don't care what we are producing. It might not look good. Whether it comes from Aba, or it comes from Sokoto, or it comes from Oshogbo.
Let's use it.
It must come.
Yes.
Now we have we have something going up in Ninewi, and I'm happy that government, successive government, I think this government has also sustained it. That vehicle, innocent vehicle.
Yeah.
Government, even this government, I've started saying government, patronize agencies of government, patronizing it. That is where our miracle will come. But we don't need one to avoid monopoly.
Yeah.
We need more. We need more of those local vehicles to be in place than we can make. Yes,
there's a school of thought. I was trying to find that comment somewhere because I know I saw it. I'm not even sure if this is it, but what the comment was trying to say, and I'll try to extract a few things here. It says the reality is that with oil, technology, and automation in the comparative advantage in industrial policy has shifted from cost of labor to cost of energy and logistics because of automation. Now, what this person was trying to say is that this issue of manufacture, that the world has gone past brick and mortar, let us see how we can put this together. Everything is now AI, technology, such that where we need to fit in as a people is where there is the knowledge base of how we can use our services and as a brain, as I said earlier on, to actually provide solutions. Not so much of the manufacturing or producing, because we've passed that level.
No, we have not.
It's a school of thought.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make you understand that where we are as a nation, manufacturing is manufacturing, but where we should be going to the future is more of automation. What do you think about that?
There is no future without today.
Yeah.
China does the AI. But when you think of what we have in this room, let's strip ourselves of China in this room. Just try it. We might go out naked.
Yes, naked bodies.
Yes. No,
so AI is important. I by no means underestimate what the person meant. In economics, we still call it pathway to the future, AI. But we have to live today. We have to live today.
Building blocks.
If we don't live today, that future will not come.
Yeah. Can I add a little thing to what you're saying?
Yeah,
even the AI people, they still do manual. Yeah. They still have their factories where human beings are the ones doing the brick and mortar, depending on the particular industry. So you finish the brick and mortar, you now move it to the people who now use AI to automate it. We have not even started with the brick and mortar. Well? We are rushing to AI. That's our problem.
I don't want to forget this question.
Let me just add to that, and so that you can also correct me if I'm wrong, that if manufacturing wasn't so important, what Trump is trying to do, which is also
is to go manufacturing back in America.
And they are the AI everything. So if it's not important,
why are they going back to
so let me go to the question that I had in mind. I always use this analogy that the middle class is a major problem we have in Nigeria. For example, we're the ones buying this hair. Now, if you're saying we should strip ourselves naked, I will lose this hair. I will lose every single thing. And as a people, I'm saying, you know what? We don't want to eat sausages that is imported. We don't want to eat all those things that we import. Let us focus on our ogi. Let us focus on our gari and take our breakfast as we do and not worry about those foreign things. Now, as a people, are we ready for that? Because when you say strip, it's just said and done. Can we truly strip? Because the man on the ground, because he doesn't know sausages, doesn't know Brazilian hair. He's already stripped. He's fine. But can you, middle class, can you strip?
Why not?
And can you truly strip yourself such that we now come back to ground zero and start over?
Okay, so that's not what I wish I had it said. Now, I'm sorry. I hope you. Now, I did not mean that we should strip ourselves
completely
to zero. I'm saying
Thank you, my brother.
That's not what I meant in the analysis I gave earlier.
Please.
So what you said is that perhaps I meant that we should start from ground zero. That's not what that is not the conversation. What I mentioned is that if we do a test and remove everything China gave us, what are we going to be left with? But the response to that question is you had mentioned that the middle class is a problem and that the middle class, here is it. Before you do that, economics is not about acting blindly. We must have either done export promotion or import substitution. So it is what you have substituted for that you now remove. Before substituting, if you take that decision, you will pay dearly.
Yes, you will crash.
Yeah.
So you will pay dearly. Yeah. What are you substituting with? And that is why you see, I like your question because you say, are we ready? But that question should be asked in this direction, in my opinion. If our leaders say, now we want to start a new pattern, we want to redirect this economy, I wish, because it's not going to be easy, it's going to be tough, but there is no one that have had it easy. Are we willing to partner with government? Like Chinese people do. The kind of freedom we have in Nigeria, to be sincere, it's not the kind of freedom you have in China.
At all.
It's not the same. So we need to understand a few things that, yes, economic prosperity can come to us, but are we willing as a people and as government to pay the sacrifices that is required?
No, let's start from the government.
Unfortunately, we have to.
No way.
Pay the price.
No way. On the show. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow.
How we have just started asking questions.
Well, sorry.
We have to